Hi, and welcome once again to Ivy English. I'm Karen.
And I'm Chris Gorski.
Today is September 23rd. Today we're going to hear part 2 of this really fascinating article that we started yesterday entitled, Let's See Through Eyeglasses. It's a history of eyeglasses.
That's right, and today we'll be looking at different types of glasses. And I used to always kind of wonder at ads from the early 20th century. Mm-hmm. There were always these ads for medical sunglasses. And this always struck me as odd. And they talked about how yellow they were and how brown they were and the miracle cures they were. And I always thought this was so odd. And then when we were looking at this article, I was like, you know what? Let me get to the bottom of this because I'm looking up other stories about this anyways.
Right.
And I found out why yellow and brown glasses were considered medicinal sunglasses. And that's because when you get syphilis, which is a terrible disease,
oh no,
you become sensitive to light. And it was thought blocking the yellow and brown rays of whatever light, I guess, somehow eased your symptoms of syphilis.
Good heavens! There was a lot of that around.
Disease.
I know that.
Yes.
Yeah, people would go blind from it, go crazy from it.
That's right.
Oh, never knew. All right.
Fun facts.
Here we go. First paragraph. Eyeglasses may have started out as an aid for magnification, but nowadays there are various types of glasses that can be selected for a number of different functions.
Single vision eyeglasses. These are the most common type of glasses. Each lens has a single power, so they can be used to help you see things that are either far away or nearby, but not both. If your eyesight is slightly different from eye to eye, lenses of two different powers can be put in the frames.
Bifocal glasses. If you are both near and farsighted, then you may need to invest in bifocals. These lenses have two different prescriptions. The top half of the lenses will let you clearly see things that are far away from you, while the lower half is for seeing things that are close, like reading a book. There is usually a visible line along the top of the lower half, which curves into a D shape down to the bottom of the frame.
Progressive lenses. If you want even more variation in the corrective power of your lenses, then progressive glasses are what you need. These have 3 different powers and offer a more natural view than bifocals since they correct near, far, and mid-range vision. These glasses don't have a line across the lens, but like bifocals, a shift of your eyes alters the prescription you use.
Task-specific eyeglasses. These eyeglasses are designed for particular tasks and are tailor-made to fit your needs. One of the most common of this type is computer glasses. In this case, the optometrist will adjust the lenses so that they offer an optimum viewing experience of the computer screen. This is a great choice if you are always at your desk, since it will help prevent eye fatigue. Now, that applies to many of us these days. And I don't know that there really are glasses that are better for using with a computer. There's this blue light thing. I would have to find out more about this.
This is something I've seen. I know some real tech types, and they talk about them. I don't actually know if they even wear them, though. I should probably ask that because I do see them advertised. Something of me does suspect that this is probably played up more than... But I suppose really if you're an IT guy, if you're a person that is always on your computer, then perhaps it may be worth the investment, maybe.
It sounds like something we would have to do a little more research on. Let's go back to the beginning. Eyeglasses may have started out as an aid for magnification, but nowadays there are various types of glasses that can be selected for a number of different functions. Now, you could have all kinds of eye problems, and if you put a magnifying glass over some text or something, it makes it bigger. So whatever your eye problem is, you probably will see it better just by having it made bigger. But it won't necessarily be really clear with sharp lines. You'll just be able to make out what's there. So at the beginning, it was just making things look bigger, but later on, we found ways of making you see much better with sharper lines. For example,
single vision eyeglasses. And our sentence begins, these are the most common types of glasses. These are the glasses you're probably thinking of when you think of glasses. Each lens has a single power, so they can be used to help you see things that are either far away or nearby, but not both.
So you didn't have a lot of flexibility with these things. Like if you're looking at something close and you're looking at something far away, you may have problems with both of those, but you can only solve one of the problems with single vision eyeglasses. That was one of the disadvantages.
Okay, and let's continue. If your eyesight is slightly different from eye to eye, lenses of two different powers can be put in the frames.
So you couldn't have two different prescriptions for the same eye. But if one eye is relatively strong and the other relatively weak, you could use a different prescription for each eye. So at least it had that advantage. And I think most of us just got glasses like that. At least I did since I was a kid. So that's one thing we can solve. But we can also solve that problem of one eye having two different problems depending on the distance that you're looking at. And the answer to that is bifocal glasses. If you are both near and farsighted, then you may need to invest in bifocals. So that means when you're looking at things far away, they are not clear, they're blurry. When you're looking at a book close up, that is also blurry. But if you have bifocals, you can get one solution for each of those problems. These lenses have two different prescriptions. A prescription is usually medicine that you get, but prescription is also the word that we use to describe what kind of glasses you have, how they are adjusted so it can improve your vision. The top half of the lenses will let you clearly see things that are far away from you, while the lower half is for seeing things that are close, like reading a book, and we've already mentioned that. And I had those, and you get used to them after a while. There is usually a visible line along the top of the lower half, which curves into a D shape down to the bottom of the frame. This is just describing what bifocal glasses look like. There's a line that reflects the light around close, just below the middle of the lens, and then it turns into a D shape as it goes down, and then you look into that part of the glasses when you are reading.
I was just going to ask you that, because to me, it looks like the line is exactly in the middle, and that would seem distracting to me.
It's really, it depends on the glasses. In the past, they were a much smaller part of the glasses. They can be made bigger. It really depends on the glasses.
Let's say you have a problem, and so the lower half is for...
Reading.
For reading. Oh, okay. I was going to ask, you couldn't really flip that if you needed to. Let's say you have a problem, a more serious problem up top. Is that the part you more actively use?
Okay, so if you are nearsighted and things far away look blurry, you look through the top of them. And then if you are reading, you have to have a different kind of prescription for your glasses. You look down at the lower part and then you can see a book clearly.
So flipping or inverting the lens doesn't really make sense.
No, and so what you have to do is if you want to look at something close that's high up, you have to tilt your head up and get close. And I remember having to do that. And so people who have bifocals, they often have some kind of funny gestures because of that.
Oh, that kind of makes me think of, like you would kind of... I should mention that bifocals is almost parlays for old people.
Yep.
And it's unfair to say that, but that's the truth. I remember being a little kid, and I remember when my mom got bifocals, and that was the height of comedy at whatever age I was.
You're an old person now. Yeah.
I'm probably older than my mom when she got bifocals. And it's just one of those facts of life. Your eyes deteriorate. And to me, the word bifocal just meant old.
Yeah, that's funny. And that's why everybody found it so strange that I had bifocals in grade school, and I don't have them now.
So before we go on to our next paragraph, I actually wanted to jump back up to the word prescription. And just like Karen said, it's usually drugs that you get, like pills or medicine of some type. And we can break this Latin up, pre meaning before, you know that for like preview. And then script is literally means to write. And usually we'll use it as S-C-R-I-B-E. A scribe is a person that writes. And this is because the doctor must write out what drugs you can get before the pharmacist can dispense the drugs to you. Dispense is the verb we use when the pharmacist gives you pills or medicine. And the reason I bring this all up is because oftentimes prescription is kind of a long word. It takes time to write it out. And so a lot of times doctors will write an R, and with the little tail of its R, they'll put a line through it. And so it looks like RX.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
right.
just a very common way you may see this. And I don't know. I've never seen it in Taiwan.
Oh, not in Taiwan, but you see it on pharmacies in the States on a big sign. It will say RX, so you know what it is they're selling.
All right. And now let's go on to our next paragraph here, progressive lenses. If you want even more variation in the corrective power of your lenses, then progressive glasses are what you need.
This is interesting because it sounded like it was a big innovation, and you get rid of that line that reflects light on bifocals, but you really have to retrain yourself in how you wear your glasses and look at the world. So depending on whether you're looking at something close or far, you have to adjust where your head is. You have to look up or look down or however. And it actually takes a lot more adjustment than you might think. And it was because of that I never considered them. I just didn't want to have to go through that. So like if you're driving, you have to be careful. You can only look through the top.
So it wouldn't be something that you would instantly jump into. It sounds like something you need to practice a bit
takes
first.
Practice, takes training.
Let's continue. These have 3 different powers and offer a more natural view than bifocals since they correct near, far, and mid-range vision.
And that is bringing up a Chinese sentence that I saw on a sign of an optician's every day when I rode past it. And excuse me, can I put some Chinese in here? It says, 远中近一副. Okay, that's what the sign said. So you just need one pair of glasses and you can see far, you can see medium distances, and you can see close, all with one pair of glasses.
While we're talking about Chinese, actually, this just reminded me of a story. I remember being in elementary school and they wanted to test our vision. And instead of using that big chart with the letters on it, they made us stick our face in this thing. It looked like a pair of binoculars.
Yeah.
And they asked me to count how many hands there were.
Oh, yeah, how many fingers?
They told me hands. They told me hands.
Oh.
And I said 0. And they were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, there's no hands. They're like, yes, how many hands are there? And I was so confused by what they meant. And I remember this doctor got so mad at me. This doctor was like ready to yell at me because I was like, there's no hands. And he's like, the hands. And he ended up writing out what he wanted me to look for.
Yeah.
And to me today, it looks like the word for shan. And it was like 3 little fingers. I guess those are...
and he called them hands.
Hands. And I
those
understand his logic. And I was just like real concrete thinking kid. And at first he thought I had the serious eye debilitation.
It's your metaphor. It did not work.
Right. And then he's like, how many hands are there? And he's like pointing to the figure. And I'm like, oh, there's 12. And this has nothing to do with anything. Your story just made me think of it for some reason.
You know, I have never had an eye doctor tell that to me or call them hands. But I had a similar experience because remember I told you the story about when my mother was just begging my father to let me have my eyes checked? Right. Actually, he did. And he took me to this doctor. And he says, well, just point your hand in the direction that the E is pointed. And so I pointed up, and then I pointed to the right, and I pointed down, and I pointed to the left in a circle. It was 100% predictable. So I just kept
so you just recognized the pattern. Right.
I just hit on it by accident, and then as they got smaller, I just kept revolving, and it was always correct. And then he said, your daughter's eyes are perfect. And I go, what?
As you, bump into the
wall.
And
then my mom really went through the roof, says, what? Her eyes have a problem. What do you mean they're okay? And then he took me to a specialist, and that's when I learned the word ophthalmologist. And then he found out how awful my eyes were.
That feels like it should be, I know they don't do that anymore. The letters are varied, they change the direction. But yeah, you look for when you're a kid, you look for those patterns. You do. It's like, I recognize the pattern. This is what it is.
And I didn't do it on purpose. I just kept revolving my hand.
This child has incredible vision.
So that was the story, and that really upset my mom. And then when my dad finally gave in, then we finally fixed it.
Okay, now, before we go on to our next paragraph, I wanted to share a story we didn't quite have time for yesterday. We were talking about scissor spectacles, and we described them as glasses that can bend at the bridge, the part you put over your nose, and how old-timey they felt to me. Now, I have a personal hero of mine that loved wearing those glasses, and he was the 26th president of the United States, Teddy Roosevelt. Now, Teddy Roosevelt, like many people of the past, sometimes have some controversial feelings about race. But if you can look past that, because those were so common in the past, Teddy Roosevelt was a pretty incredible person. Now, he was president twice of the United States, and he tried to become president 3 times, which is today illegal. You can't do that anymore. And unfortunately, his party didn't want to support him. And so he invented this new party called the Bull Moose Party. A bull moose is a big, strong animal. And he was ready to give a speech And in his coat pocket, he had his 53-page manuscript in his pocket, folded in half. And behind that, he had his metal eyeglass case with his scissor spectacles. And there's a gunman in the audience. And as he gets up to give a speech, this person fires the bullet and it goes into his chest. His 53-page manuscript and his metal eyeglass case is able to slow the bullet down. It still goes into his body. It's still in his chest. He's bleeding heavily. But Teddy Roosevelt gets up and he tells everyone, don't hurt this man. You know, he doesn't know what he does. Don't hit him. And then he takes out his bloodied speech. He recognizes that he can't read it. So he puts it down and he tells everyone, I don't know if you know this, but I've been shot. But it takes more than a bullet to kill a bull moose. And I just think,
wow, what
a man.
What a story and what a man. That's
and he
true.
gives an hour-long speech before he's finally convinced to be taken to the hospital. What a man.
Oh, I would not want to go through that. Our last paragraph, task-specific eyeglasses. These eyeglasses are designed for particular tasks and are tailor-made to fit your needs. Now, in theory, it sounds good. So depending on what kind of work you do or what you usually do during the day, you can have special glasses made. To be tailor-made, that means made to your requests, your demands, your specifications. One of the most common of this type is computer glasses, and that's something just about everybody in theory would need. In this case, the optometrist will adjust the lenses so that they offer an optimum viewing experience of the computer screen. Now, Chris and I discussed it earlier. What that means in actual reality, in practical terms, we are not that sure. You can check online. This is a great choice if you are always at your desk, since it will help prevent eye fatigue. Now, more important than preventing eye fatigue, I have found that, especially since the pandemic, but probably originally anyway, I just can't stand being in the house that long anymore. I used to be able to do it when I was younger, but I'm out of here. I just have to go out. Sometimes out, even if it's raining, although I hate going out in the rain. I just get out. And so that's how I've actually gotten out for more hikes, because I'm just sick and tired of always being in front of a computer at home.
Yeah, I suppose with your phone, you have your computer everywhere. And so having those little filters that can adjust the light that reaches your eyes is useful, but maybe
it's better to just get away from the blasted computer.
Yeah, I agree. It's better just to put it in your pocket or book bag and go on for a hike.
All right, let's go on to our questions. We have 4 of them. Number 1, what can we learn about the Romans from the passage?
Well, A, they were the first to make glass.
B, they invented framed eyeglasses.
C, they used a glass globe of water for magnification.
And D, they were known to wear accessories made of glass. The answer is clearly
C, they used a glass globe of water for magnification.
Question number 2.
According to the passage, what is the correct order for the development of glasses?
And here we have 4 choices, and we have to number them 1 through 4. So A is glasses fixed around the head.
B, glass lenses first placed in frames.
C is foldable glasses invented. And
D, eyeglasses supported by the ears.
All right, so the first thing is B, glass lenses first placed in frames comes first. And second is?
Then we have A, we have glasses fixed around the head. They use the hat.
And then the third stage in the process was D, eyeglasses supported by the ears. And finally,
foldable glasses invented and, of course, worn by my personal hero, Teddy Roosevelt.
And to put them in order, we have to go to letter D, which says B-A-D-C, and that puts things in the correct order. Question number 3, which of the following statements best describes progressive lenses?
A, they offer the widest range of vision correction.
B, they are specifically made for those who are farsighted.
C, they can be adjusted to 2 different powers for one's eyes.
And D, they are designed to fit an office employee's work environment. The correct answer is, of course,
A, they offer the widest range of vision correction.
And while that is true, just remember what we were talking about earlier. It takes quite a while to get used to them. You don't just put them on and suddenly everything is okay and in focus. All right, and number 4, which of the following is most likely a pair of bifocal glasses? And here we have 4 pictures of eyeglasses. And what do you have to look for?
You have to look for that little line in the middle.
That's right. And then that D shape under it. And the correct answer is?
B.
And there you go. You have a pair of bifocal glasses. Now, in addition to glasses, there are other ways you can deal with vision problems. As we've mentioned earlier, one is contact lenses. So I guess you haven't had contact lenses?
I can't touch my eyes. And my allergies are really poor that I would have a problem with
Bad
those.
Bad choice for you. So I finally got contact lenses in high school. And high school is a time when you really care about your appearance. And I had thick glasses. And you're out dating and stuff like that. And they really made a difference. Suddenly people were looking at me differently when I wasn't wearing glasses. And to tell a slightly salty story, not too much, I had walked into a meeting of students and faculty at my school. And later on, one of the teachers said, "Oh, you don't wear glasses anymore. You know, when you came in, I thought, there's someone I can, kind of chat up." He says, you're probably going to hit me for saying that. And I said, "No, that was really nice."
Yeah, I would, the glasses I had when I was 16, I had to get glasses in high school. And I had like these round glasses because they were cheap. We didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
I come from a poor family. And today you would recognize them as like Harry Potter glasses.
Oh.
And I remember kids used to kind of make fun of me for them, but I had to wear glasses at work. I was working at McDonald's and I needed to see small numbers and a little bit far away. Uh-huh. So I would wear them at McDonald's. And I think maybe that's where my aversion came to them. I'm sick of wearing these. I don't like them. They definitely don't look cool and I can't afford nice ones. How about I just don't wear glasses because I could just ask to sit in the front. And in college, you could sit wherever you want. And I had no problem sitting in the front row as a student in college.
So I can understand that. That has sort of a backstory to it. Well, I was fine with contact lenses for years until I started developing blind spots. And I got really scared. I went to the doctor and he says, "No, it's not because of your contacts." But I stopped wearing the contacts. And over time, it slowly got better. So hard contact lenses eventually caused serious problems. And I just wasn't able to wear contact lenses again. And then many years later, I got LASIK surgery, which was really great.
My wife thought perfect, it was a huge baby for not being able to touch my eyes. She's like, "Why can't you just put these in?" I'm like, "I can't do it."
No. If
the
you
idea
have
of touching my
allergies,
eyes,
you really should not. Yeah. So with LASIK surgery, there's also risk involved. And it went so smoothly, and I had this one doctor who was just really good. And then I had a bandage to be removed. I go, "Things are going so great. I don't have to have that special doctor. Anybody can do it." So they had an intern do it, and it actually tore my cornea.
Oh.
So after that surgery, which was so good, I got some damage done to it, so it wasn't as good as it could have been. And you'd think I'd be really, really mad at the doctor, right? I was the one who said it was okay for someone else to do it.
Right.
But I wasn't, because I thought my vision is so much better than it was before I had the surgery. I'm never, ever going to be mad about this. I'm just very grateful.
Wow. And did you have LASIK done in Taiwan or did you have it done abroad?
In Taiwan.
I can never find out what the price is for that. Well, that's one thing I noticed because I was curious about it. I looked through it and this is how I know it's really expensive. It's like $500 off or $1,000 off. If they're giving you $1,000 off, that means it's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's the range, but it's probably come down in price and it's also improved. So when I did it, it was riskier and you had a longer recovery time. It's much easier now with a shorter recovery time. So you may want to still look into it.
Yeah. But then again, you might also look awesome in glasses and wear them. And I will say, I've always thought girls in glasses is attractive. I've never had a problem with it. It's never been a turnoff for me.
Some guys say, "I like girls in glasses because they look smart." There you go. Oh, that's all we have time for today. Tune in next time. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.